Listen up.
It's TLDL.
Welcome
Back.
to TLD motherfucking L.
Too long motherfucking didn't listen.
We are back today. Girl, it's been a week and a
Yeah,
half.
it's been like the worst week and it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, and I got my coffee here, dehydrating.
I've got my coffee too. Yeah, this sucks. So we're actually recording a day later. So despite the fact that our episodes have come out on the wrong day every week since we started, we actually do record on the same day every week. But
The technical side we're getting used to.
yeah, but
And now we have a
been-
structured thing, so we're
we're
getting
so
there.
structured. But no, this week, I mean, I don't want to call it another mass shooting. Like the massacre of 19 children and 21 people altogether took place earlier this week. And then when I first heard the news, for me, I kind of was like, I don't even want to read this until everything is final.
Yeah.
When the news comes out, I don't actually like to watch it as it's breaking. I think the anxiety it causes is really,
It is very...
I don't know, it's really hard on me.
For me, too. You got a little mad because I had no idea what was going on.
No, I know. And I mean...
Not mad, not in a bad way. Not like...
Just frustrated I had to tell you about it.
And relive going through it again. And I was like, sorry, I don't really know what's going on. You're like, you should educate yourself eventually.
Well,
I
I said that because he said he didn't really know who Ted Cruz was, which is now he is such a huge player in what happened this week. And then just so much in politics.
Totally, yes. Because if you look at our reels, we talked about Ted Cruz, and I was like, Ted Cruz, I know who he is, but who is he? And you were like, dude, I'm not going to get into it. I was like, oh, shit.
I know, you guys, the inner me who I don't know. I just become like a different person. Every time these tragedies happen, I feel like I'm
totally.
pretty baseline. I do care about these issues. I get all the emails and all the subscriptions to signing pledges and whatnot all the time. So it's not like I'm not always looking at this stuff, which I know you're kind of never looking at this kind of stuff. And for me, like gun reform, I get texts about it every day.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I just feel like when this stuff happens, it hits me super hard. And then I turn into this little radicalized social justice warrior for the day.
For sure. And nothing wrong with it. And I guess a little background is kind of what I was talking about last episode. Check that episode out. I grew up in a bubble, and we kind of just assumed everything that was happening outside of it is just crazy world stuff, and we just never really connected to it, which is why I don't ever look at it. It's just the way I'm programmed.
And what I said to Alex yesterday was just I think it's time.
Yes.
I think it's time that you kind of get involved and just take a deeper look, because there's so many implications on our day-to-day relationships and our society as a whole. But also, your identity as a gay man right now is really being threatened. So, not that you should only care about politics, obviously, for yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
It is affecting you and your community. But anyway, I just saw the news and then I kind of looked away. And then when all the details were coming out the day after we were supposed to record, and I was I don't know if it's because I'm a mom or just because I'm a human, because I think I don't ever want to say someone who's childless doesn't feel the same amount of grief as someone who has a parent when a tragedy happens to a child, but I take it heavier now. So in my perspective, the way I have taken this is just so much more heavily, and just imagining what the parents are going through. I'm having a really hard time as a mom processing.
For sure. I think there's something to that. Honestly, this last 2 years, I've been friends with a lot of new moms, with moms that were pregnant and then gave birth. And there is something super powerful about giving birth to a child, seeing it, C-section or just, regular vagina baby. Is that the biblical term? Just kidding.
What is it called? A vaginal delivery? Yeah.
I don't know. But seeing it come out, having little legs to start walking around, seeing it move around, there's a connection to humanity that I think that mothers you can't replicate that.
It's like animalistic. No,
Yes.
it's interesting.
And then with children, moms have just such an attachment to any child. You could see,
That's what it is. I feel it like in my soul. And I know, so I was adopted, and I wasn't even adopted until I was 6, but my mom was crazy. Like, my mom's worst fear was anything happening to me. Anything that would make my life slightly uncomfortable at all was her worst fear, let alone losing me would be unimaginable for her. I do believe, like, my mom was the kind of parent that was so attached to me. I was an only child. She was a single parent, they co-parented my dad and her. And I think she would have died if I had died. I think she would have died of a broken heart. Like, that's
for sure
what kind of mom my mom was. And she did die young anyway. But, I was adopted, but I think that process for the years of her wanting to adopt or have a child, then getting one, I think that bringing a child into your life and taking on the role of mother the day you decide, I actually did ask my mom, like, will you be my mommy, when she was my caseworker. I have been conning people into taking me in since I was 3. I was like, bitch, I need a home. Get
You're
me
like,
out.
said the same thing to me. You're like, bitch, I need a podcast.
I told Amy, I need to be a wedding planner. I have no experience. Take me. But yeah, I was like, so when she committed to that full maternal bond was immediate, birth or no birth. And I do want to say that. So I had Ezra, and we had a C-section, but my mom adopted me, and that love that she had for me was so powerful and is so powerful. It transcends everything. And just as the news with the shooting and the massacre came out, I had obviously a lot of like angry reactions because of politicians and the police officers at the scene. More's coming out today about that, but they like shot at the guy and couldn't even get him. And then they ran in to the school, the police officers, and got their own children out and didn't evacuate the rest of the school. And then this is in the same state that Greg Abbott and Ted Cruz are, pro-life, aka pro-anti-abortion. And then, they just are the biggest donators and recipients of the NRA. So it's a lot. So I was angry. And then I was devastatingly sad.
Yes.
So it's a split process,
So I was
guess.
like, girl, let's reschedule for tomorrow.
Yeah, it was Alex's idea after hearing my voice, I think.
Totally. Yes. And then at our local coffee shop, people were like, after you had left, they're like, is something wrong with Chloe? I was like, yeah, bro. Did you?
Oh, I think I know. I think the one who probably asked didn't. I don't think
couple.
we talked.
Yes.
Well, I had told everyone else,
Yeah.
but like I talked to the owner of the coffee shop, and she was fuming. I mean, she was undeniably upset. I've never seen her act so. I don't even know what the word is, just on edge. And she just kind of ran out of the coffee shop. And not like she was already on her way out, but it was just her energy. She looked at me, I said, I can't do this. And she was just like, me neither. And she just kind of walked out and no, I'm not okay. Yeah. No mom is okay. No person with any sort of conscience or desire for a safe world. I don't want to keep my kid at home for the rest of his fucking life. Like, I want to let him explore, but at
this
what
is the world,
fucking cost? And it's not parents' fault for having kids. That's an argument I'm tired of hearing. There should be no judgment in parents having kids or parents not having kids. But there should be anger and judgment towards the politicians that are allowing us to have AR-15s at our disposal at 18 years old. So anyway, I don't really want to go into the details of what happened. Yeah. You know what happened. I'm really taking it hard and just feel a lot of grief. I just can't get the image and sounds out of my head that I imagine these parents are letting out as they hear the news. So we're just so sorry.
Yes. Have you ever have you ever shot a gun?
No, I'm like so anti-gun.
I have never shot a gun either.
No.
I'm not ever because I was anti-gun. My dad's never shot a gun. Mm-hmm. I almost sent you a screenshot because it was like kind of the Drew Afwalo thing. It's this guy, he lives in our town. He's kind of like has a whole thing. Mm-hmm. But he put on Mother's Day, he's like, to the fathers that don't hunt, shoot, or something else, happy Mother's Day to you too. And I was like,
oh.
I can't believe people.
I mean, I don't really have a response to that because it's so beneath me.
How do people put like eating meat or shooting a gun with masculinity.
Because men are violent by nature. That is the people
So
who...
weird.
Those are the people
But my dad, I think
are the issue, for sure. I mean, part of the issue.
It might be a social construct because my dad was never like that. My dad's like, why would I have a gun?
No, my dad isn't. I mean, maybe my dad shot a gun like out in Colorado or something, but I don't know if my dad's ever been hunting. I don't even know if my dad has shot a gun. I just don't want to say on record he hasn't.
Yeah.
But I don't think so.
But
my mom certainly as hell did not.
It was so weird when I saw the meme because I was like, bro, and I wanted to Drew follow him and like send you a screenshot of what he looks like. So I'm like,
I know.
Homie.
I know. You should send me. But yeah, the gun stuff, I'm like, seize the guns, destroy the guns, get rid of the guns. And the people who are hunters, which again, like kind of a weird hobby, but I guess if I'm being at all like reasonable, I suppose they can go through the like 2-year training program that we should have and get their rifle to go hunting and then have permits and licenses and have to prove year after year that they're actually going hunting, and maybe a pistol, I guess. But actually, I'd just be okay with no guns. I just try to see where's my compromise. Where can I compromise with the gun lobbyists? Like what is okay? But years of training. I mean, it takes years to be a fucking pilot of an aircraft, and they're just on cruise control.
And
like,
even
I just don't
driving
get
a
this.
car,
oh
you
my
need to
God,
get a
it was
license.
the worst. I hated those classes.
And you can drive, and a car is really dangerous. Like you could do even more damage. Well,
if we regulated guns, yes, there would be more damage with cars.
But cars, like you need a registration, you need to get this, you need to go through all these hoops, which we're all used to. But with guns, I mean, I was literally in Oregon. Me and my friend walked into, it was like a Dick's Sporting Goods or some store. And again, I don't have any relationship to guns. None.
Right.
And I understand what you mean.
I don't either. I really don't like them. And I've come to that conclusion on my own through my own life experiences, but I don't have like a story about an accidental shooting or anything like that.
Yeah.
I just don't like them. I know that.
And I walked into, it was a Cabela's. I walked into the store. They had ammunition. They have like these rifles or whatever. And I was like, how would I be able to buy one of these? And he was like, oh, are you 18? I was like, yeah, I'm 20. And he's like, oh, just bring your ID. And I was like,
yeah.
So bring my ID and I have a fucking rifle. That's great. And I can like, I can just load this up in here and just fucking open fire in here if I wanted to.
No, I know. And
it is weird.
There's been obviously lots of comments on this, and they're the same comments that every time a mass shooting take place. But you know, the AR-15 or the AK-47, those semi-automatic guns, people are very clearly saying they're really meant for one of two things. One is to kill people and to murder people very quickly, or two is to go out in the middle of the nowhere and shoot things and yell like "Yeehaw!" Like it's get a new hobby. It's not for any practical use. If your hobby's killing people, get a new fucking hobby. So I guess like it's just shocking me that people have guns in their home, and I think we'd be better off if we were a no gun society with maybe military or high like ranking police officers having access to military equipment, but they shouldn't have military equipment unless they're a militia. So like they should have a pistol. I don't know.
It is.
I don't know the answer, but
neither.
we need to reel it in 90%.
For sure. I think it's just too easy. And the
it's mental health side is true.
Yeah.
We need mental health care for people who are mass shooting. However, people always want to focus on like, oh, it's a mental health crisis. And the United States doesn't have any more of a mental health crisis than any other country in the world. And yet we have the highest number of shootings. We have a gun crisis.
Yeah.
Like 300,000 shootings in the last year or something. And then you go down the other list of countries and it's like 22, 8, 3, 1, 0, like Japan, New Zealand now ever since the last shooting. But mental health is an issue. But the reason people are dying are because of guns. Like, stop it. I don't want to hear about the other, like the why. I don't care about the fucking why. I care that guns are going to kill my child. I'm done.
Yeah.
I just don't, again, I'm
tired.
I'm hitting a part of my life where I'm sick of the compromising.
For
what? For people to have a stupid fucking hobby in the middle of nowhere? Move somewhere fun. I don't know. Which... We're talking about moving today, so
today's subject is
get the
moving.
fuck out of. I mean, it's a poverty issue, but yeah, if you can get out of those conservative areas, get out.
Yeah. Well, on a lighter note.
Yes, we're just really sorry.
Yes.
Sending all of our love, sending all of my love. And I just wish I could do more.
Yes. And not thoughts and prayers.
Fuck that.
Or if you want to think well and pray over it.
You can
for
pray
sure.
in addition
Please.
to.
Yes, please. Let's take action. Don't speak much on it because again, I will commit to you, Chloe, that I will be more involved in this kind of stuff because I know it's important.
I'm running for our school board here, and we'll see where I go after that. I'm tired of this shit.
Potential cult leader.
Potentially a cult leader.
Eventually.
Yeah.
We're working towards it with our podcast.
We're working towards it. This is the whole point.
But first fit check.
Yeah.
Can we, what are we wearing today?
I'm wearing a nice, these ones?
Yes.
Do you want to know the prices as well?
No. I mean, if you want, come on, you can flex on us.
These are $9 little sandals, black sandals, leather sandals with a cute, what are those called? Square heels? I don't know. But they're really cute. My friend got them for me because I forgot to buy shoes for Amy's wedding.
Oh.
So she bought these.
Oh, they're nice though.
Yes, $9 from Marshall's. Sorry, fast fashion.
Oh, that's all right.
But these have actually held up. Sometimes I think Marshall's has other brands that are like the kind of didn't sell designer ones versus Ross has more like lower end stuff, I think. And then I got this dress from Target.
Target.
This is one of my dresses. My mother-in-law bought me this dress last year for my birthday.
Hell yeah.
I went in and we went shopping and I tried it on and she was like, get it.
Hell
and I
yeah.
said, thank you.
You look Amish. Just kidding, not Amish.
My breasts are showing today. I feel like I have cleavage for the first time in my life.
Watch us on YouTube.
Let's talk about your outfit.
The same one I wore last week.
And the week before.
And the week before. Except today, I have dirty ass feet with
a pink Band-Aid.
So a sandal that hurts my feet so much that it started cutting a hole into it.
Are you serious?
So I put a Band-Aid over it.
Oh, you got a blister, yeah.
That's my solution, would just put a
That's what I do on
over
wedding
it.
days. I just like bandage my feet and hope they last.
Yeah.
It's hard. Okay, so you're Alex's mom.
Is our biggest fan.
I'm her biggest fan. Saint Ivanette.
She's
I
gonna
love
listen
her.
to this.
Good. I really love you.
She's been my number one supporter for everything I've ever done.
I love
She's
that.
been and to a fault even, because even stupid ideas, she's like, yes, do this.
Yes.
And I'm like, yeah, all right, sure. I mean, yes, I used to be in a band when I was younger. Okay. Mom, you remember this. Okay. I mean, plenty of hilarious stories of my mom. Like one time, we played a show.
Wait, what kind of band? What kind of music?
It was like a hard rock kind of music. Like we had a guitar.
Screamo?
Not Screamo, but we used to play with Screamo bands. Like we used to like be in the same set. And and the music was actually pretty good. Our guitarist was super gifted. His name's Omar Sosa. He's really good. And then Jen Aldana, I interviewed her on my Flopped podcast, my Floating City.
That's cool. I'll have to look at that.
And she's a music artist till today. And my brother was a drummer and I was a bass player. And so we were playing, and I remember playing one day, and I look up, and my mom, just like, we're in this tiny ass room, smaller than
Little
this.
venue,
A
just
tiny venue. All these kids super sweaty. They're smoking weed. They're like fucking drinking beer. And my mom's standing on a chair, smiling and just like,
just doing a mom dance.
And we're playing like dun 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 dun, and she's just like, yes, yes. And one time we were playing in this huge fucking warehouse. The ceilings are super tall. It's called the Turk House. And there's these kids moshing. My mom has no idea what moshing is, but she just sees these kids pushing each other. So
she's like, I want in.
So she shoved some kid, and he just turns around, just a reaction, and shoves her, and she falls back, and he's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
He like looks behind and sees this like nice Latina mom, like, oh my goodness.
It's amazing. So she, so I'll like randomly check my phone. All of a sudden, I'll have like 100 likes and comments, and it'll be my mom.
Me too. Thank you for the support on Instagram.
Instagram, YouTube. She'll write whole fucking dissertations.
I really think that our moms would have gotten along.
Oh, for sure.
Because my mom was also just like a cheerleader of me. Like I was her purpose.
And territorial.
Oh yeah, just like a mother bear. I was saying earlier about her, like, she would tell me, I didn't get to this. She would say to me, like, if anyone ever touches you, I'll fucking kill them. And I was like, yeah,
Yes.
for sure. And she's like, no, I'm not kidding. I would turn into an animal. Like, like a bear and a cub, like I would be out there like the bear. I would rip them apart limb by limb. And I was like, I don't think anyone's going to hurt me. I think we're good. And she was just like, I will fucking kill them.
Oh my God.
I think our moms would have.
For sure.
They
Extremely
love their
territorial.
babies.
Yeah. And I remember like a lot of I remember one time on TV, some woman was on TV and she's like, being a mother is such a stressful job. Like no one can. My mom like turns off the TV and turns around to me and my brother. And she's like, listen, she may be going through whatever she's doing, but I will never call this job stressful. I love being a mom to you guys. And we were young. We were like 6 and 7.
That is such a sweet thing to say.
She like made sure
and she
we
probably
knew.
meant it.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
She like
so
till
cute.
today, she's like, "Oh yeah, I had you guys, whatever."
It is
I mean, we put her through the ringer.
Stressful.
It is very.
Yeah, she's so sweet. Well, I just want to say
Yeah.
that we post on YouTube. We obviously, most people are listening on audio because that's the normal thing to do. But for you rare gems that are watching us on YouTube,
Hey, boo.
Alex's mom wrote a comment on our YouTube that I just thought was so sweet, and it made me kind of tear up. And so, Ivanette, I just thought this was the nicest thing in the world, and I want to read it to you guys. Obviously, Alex and I have just like briefly mentioned our families growing up, and no family is perfect. And
None. Oh my God.
Yeah, none. And our families had a lot of love, which is a lot more than most people can say.
Hell yeah.
So I just wanted to preface that. Like, you've heard us make jokes about our upbringing, and just Alex's mom left the most sweetest reflective comment. And she wrote on the Take Me to Church video.
Oh my gosh.
Which I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. She said, my take on this open and honest dialogue is that as a middle-aged parent now, we miss so much time not dialoguing as a family and not asking questions to our sons. Any young parent out there, or parent-to-be, or sibling, can do a much better job taking off time to sit down with your family, shut off social media, cell phones, and feel and listen to what your loved ones are going through. My friends, love and feed and take care of them. Going to church and Bible studies are not enough. We acted as a couple of blinded idiot parents many times, of course unaware. I am Alex's mom, very proud to have a loving, authentic, charismatic son. Be blessed always, Alex. We love you unconditionally always. Shut the fuck up. I literally I also read it when I was like grieving about the shooting. And so just to read a mother's love, it just like to put that all into perspective. It was just so
very nice.
So insightful and so reflective and not defensive and just, I don't know.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So
she's always been
sweet.
like that.
I love
it. Always. Yeah. So she's been so open to growth
which
always.
is the most amazing characteristic our parents can have. And I know I'll get to the day where my son's gonna want me to grow, and at a certain point, things get hard. I think we get stuck in our ways, or think we found a solution that works good for life, but life keeps going, and you need to adjust with it. And so, I just thought that was the sweetest thing.
Shout out Ivanette. I know, she's so cute. I love her.
Yeah, that
She's
was
my
special.
fave.
I sent it to Amy, my business partner, and she cried. It doesn't take much.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
But she did cry.
That's awesome. Yes, Mom, love you. You're amazing. Best.
I can't wait
fan.
to meet you and hang out.
Sooner than later.
We're gonna have fun.
Oh my God.
I will also stand on a table in a mosh pit and vibe with you because I am too a mother.
Oh my God. Oh, this is funny. Ever since I started podcasting, but even before this one, this is something that I don't know if you've ever gotten this before yet.
Okay.
But people that, and I have a friend that did this, and this is not about you, homegirl, if you're watching or listening.
It seems like it's about you.
It's not, yo.
It seems if he's prefacing it.
No, because she does it a lot, but it's not about you specifically. I've got it from so many different people where they're like,
okay, I don't even know what you're saying to me.
Okay, well, my first podcast was an interview-based one. So many people would be like, yeah, like, oh my God, I would love to be in your podcast. I'm like, yeah, cool.
Okay.
And so that would happen. And people would also like, they're like, yeah, I like, When I was younger, I just like, blah, blah, and they would just start talking like they were in a podcast.
Oh, like they were trying to sell you on their
Yes.
story.
They're like, my story was when I was younger, I just had the struggle of a lifetime. My father was like, I'm like, okay. And you're just sitting there like, whoa.
Okay. I haven't experienced this yet. And I'm just like, let me pull up some statistics. Let's see. Okay, so we have 101 loyal followers.
Hell yes. We love you.
To the overwhelming majority of you, I guess, that are just banging down Alex's door
to get interviewed.
In on the next big thing, Alex and Chloe, leave him alone.
Please.
To 101 of you, the overwhelming.
We love, and they're
the masses. The masses are our fans.
I also did have some cool.
Is it more like a personal thing? Is this like people this happens with? I actually am curious. I was just kind of joking because.
But yes, we have those like the followers. But my first podcast,
which are
there was a couple,
literally all of our friends.
Yes,
thank you guys so much.
And a couple of people from France.
Okay, we have 5 organics.
And on Spotify, someone that wasn't our friend rated us at like 1.
Fuck yeah, natural
we love them.
Listeners.
And
okay, so who's doing this? This is really
people,
funny. That would bother me too.
Business owners in town, and random people that I would talk to that I would say I had a podcast, and also, because also my first podcast, I did have a lot of views on some of the videos because I had guests on that were like, famous, like a couple of famous artists.
They had like a following.
Yes,
for sure.
And
not
still
you.
till today,
not like our massive following we have now.
Yes, you're right. Well, obviously.
100 people. I mean, come on.
I had a couple of videos that broke like 4,000 views.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, that's great.
Trisha Paytas' husband.
Oh, well, that's how you do it, folks.
Even till today, I get a lot of hate from that video. One time, random.
Okay.
Trisha Paytas, for people that don't know, is like this crazy chick online that built a brand just being very...
herself.
Yes, being very doing hot takes. What?
We have 3 stars on Spotify.
Come on.
Yes!
Okay. For those who don't know, we had like how many?
2.3.
2.3 stars. So now we're at 3.
Up in the world. I'm dying.
One of them's probably my mom. 2 of them is probably
She's like
2 different accounts.
10 fake accounts just to like, I'm not going to let my baby have a 2-star. Okay, so businesses were like trying to like solicit. They can pay for ads then. That's what I would say. Like if someone wanted, if you had...
I think they just wanted to talk on a podcast and have a video of it.
Is that what it is more? You don't even think they were trying to solicit themselves? You think they just wanted to like get 15 minutes of fame?
Or the hour-long interview that I had. And they were just like, being a business owner nowadays is so difficult. Like, blah, blah, blah. When I started it, I was like, oh, you're doing this right now.
Me.
You're doing this. It was always so weird. And it happened like 4 different times.
Oh, that is weird.
But yeah, anyways, Trisha Paytas' husband. Trisha Paytas is a very problematic figure online. She's like, did a lot of things that were anti-Semitic. She did things that were like,
transphobic.
Said the N-word a couple of times. We love it.
All of it.
And I hate it. So I interviewed her husband, and I would get her people, like fans, messaging me on Instagram.
For sure. People are obsessed. They will go down the rabbit hole.
The other day, I interviewed him over a year ago, and the other day someone wrote, this guy, all he does is talk, and he doesn't say shit. He just, bullshit comes out of his mouth.
You?
On Facebook.
About you?
On my interview with Moses.
Well, who are they referring to?
To Moses.
Oh.
Because that's what a lot of people have said about him. But I interviewed him over a year ago. Anyway, so she just it's funny how people's audiences like that.
Well, I feel like I've had the opposite experience because I have this problem in my real life too. Like I just need to include people. So I've asked like everyone, my friends, I'm like, will you be a guest on my podcast? And then I keep trying, just so everyone knows, I am like every week trying to get Alex and Ilya to let me do a guest, but the tech part is honestly kind of hard for that.
Yes.
But I have so many guests lined up. No one's asked me.
You're like, you're going to be on.
I'm like, you're interesting. You're interesting. I feel like I'm the opposite. People like think you're cool, but for me, I'm like, would you mind? Would you mind taking the time out of your day?
But you gave pitched some pretty cool ideas, like a BDSM enthusiast.
One of the people that we're going to talk to, and we are going to talk to, is she is in the BDSM community, not all like the sex side, but like walking around naked in kind of a club and doing body paintings and like getting to explore each other's bodies and your own boundaries. So it's like
I don't know
very
that.
much about boundaries. So it's really cool. And then, we just have other people that I would like to talk to and I think would give people a different perspective on topics that we're not experts on. There's only so many things we are experts on.
Yes, I would love to have the BDSM person on because I know very little about it. And I don't
really know much either, so I'm excited to learn.
Yeah, I follow this YouTuber. She was really into it, and she talks about it. And same thing, it's like not for a lot of people. It's not even a sexual thing. It's like
that's what my friend was saying.
Pushing the limits of what you're comfortable with.
Yes.
Having these hard boundaries, and then just working around it. And
it's
like
so cool.
Fear-based stuff, pain-based stuff, like all sensations,
pleasure.
Which is all interesting.
I mean, it's
pleasure
all
too.
very interesting.
Yeah.
You know what I see that a lot in though, like people asking you to be a part of your project is with weddings, not as the wedding planner, but just what I've noticed is guests of weddings or people who want to get invited to weddings will start like buddying up with newly engaged people. So every time I see someone get engaged, especially if I know like we don't have that kind of friendship where I wouldn't be invited, I try to make sure I'm just like and like so happy for you. Cause some people will be like, oh my God, girl, this is amazing. I can't wait for everything. And like they start sticking their little fingers in trying to latch onto an invite. And so I feel like I have a little piece of advice for people.
Let's do it.
Okay. The bride and grooms can tell when you're doing that and it makes them really uncomfortable. So if you are not a sure thing shoe-in wedding invite, can you just like give the couple some space in that year or whatever before they get married? Because it does feel like you're using them just to go to a party and it's really expensive.
Yeah, and it's for sure that. Let's be
real.
real.
I'm super respectful whenever I see people get engaged. Like sometimes I have been invited to weddings too that I wasn't sure I would be. And I'm like, awesome, I made it. I'm a fringe friend, but like I made it. But you always want to be careful too, like with the whole like bridesmaids thing, you know, don't force it. Don't be weird. It only comes off like you want to be invited or you want to be a part of the wedding party.
Yes.
So set some boundaries for yourself. If you really are just genuinely excited for them, that's awesome. But like, don't start inviting them to like go get dinner a few times before their wedding because that just puts them in a really weird position.
Yes,
so
and there's already
like
a lot going on.
It's those weird boundary things. So I mean, how do you handle it? What do you say to people if they've asked? Because I haven't experienced this. I mean, you guys, obviously we're kidding. We only have 100 followers.
Yeah.
Right now.
But with the interview-based one, I think specifically just because
I haven't experienced this.
Because it was a video. So even if you have no followers, there's a video of you talking and someone interviewing you. So you can use that for your own advantage, whatever. That's just like a good service.
It is totally promo.
Yeah. So it's great promo for them. Or it would happen here in town. Someone's like, oh, you should interview my fiance. He's great. And I'm like, okay.
So what would you say to them?
I would say like, oh, okay, awesome. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
So
I never really had a good
wishy-washy.
answer. I really didn't give him a good answer.
You didn't give an answer.
Yeah, I remember this one lady. Awesome. She was a hairdresser. She was like, oh, like I worked for 10 years with Paul Mitchell and blah, 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 blah. Like, I'm like, I would totally be on your podcast. I was like, oh, cool. I just did not give him an answer.
Yeah, because it's not like what you're interested in.
Yeah.
I feel like I have more advice.
Yeah.
On just like setting boundaries and stuff. You guys, this whole episode, we're going to talk about moving for people who are like on the brink of maybe wanting to move somewhere else and our experiences with that and backlash of it. So it is going to be more of an advice episode anyway. So let me just jump in here.
Yeah.
I think just being direct and being honest is always the right thing.
Always.
And what I really like that you did, and it's something I just did in a negotiation for a partnership that I have going on right now. And I actually well, I guess I didn't initiate it. They initiated this partnership, but I was equally as excited. But I was looking at the girls' work, we're thinking about with my company, including another department into our company. So another branch, another brand.
Okay.
And someone messaged me about it and I was equally in, but I was looking at their work and felt honestly like they do need to work a little bit more and get more experience with different types of this art that they're working on. It's for floral arrangements. So I was like, I think you need to have like a mentor, but I was so honest with her and so direct and said, I can't offer you a partnership right now because I think that our expectations would overwhelm you. And I also want to make sure that we're in a place that we can financially benefit you. And then your products will only improve in like the next year. And we sat down and had this long, wonderful FaceTime call. And we left feeling so good and no feelings were hurt. And I told her, I think you need a little bit more experience. I want to see your bouquets get tighter and, more curated. And I want to see that growth. And she's been sending me photos from her weddings and they've been getting better. I swear to God, every time. She's so professional. She's a go-getter. But my advice is, the more direct, the more transparent you are from the beginning with your intentions or your needs. Like, yes, if you satisfy these needs, then I would love to partner with you, or I would love to have you on my podcast. I think setting standards and sticking to them and setting hard boundaries make your life so much easier and you don't feel weird later. You don't have to look back on it. So that's my long-winded advice: honesty and communication, baby.
Hell yeah. I was always just thrown off by, usually I'm pretty, and especially in friendships, I'm very good with like being like, tell me what I did. I'm
true. Alex does say that a lot to me.
Or I'm like, tell me, girl, tell me, just lay it on me. You could say something. The other day we were talking technical stuff behind the scenes and you were like, you and Ilya, I was like, you're talking about me. Just tell me, girl, whatever it is.
Ilya did one thing of the 37 things wrong.
Yes.
And you did the 36.
Yeah.
But I wasn't going to let him get away with it either. I said, sir,
I know.
You're not perfect. I need Ilya, he's not with us recording today. But he sometimes does act like he might be totally perfect. And none of us are. So I had to call him
Except
on that
you.
one thing.
Just kidding.
Obviously.
I'm just kidding.
I make the rules. No, Alex and I really have to communicate a lot.
Yeah, we've
we
gone
do.
into it a bit.
Well, we have a brand that we're both trying to be equal parts of that reflects both of us and both of the things we care about. And, finding that partnership as this, we're Alex and I'm and Chloe, but then we're also TLDL, like the two of us as one unit.
Yes.
And for my other company, Amy and I, we were just like weddings. All we care about is our weddings look amazing and the service is incredible. But in terms of our viewpoints,
thoughts,
I guess they weren't as public. Over time, they become, we'll support things on our page that we believe in. But for Alex and I, we have to be fucking united as a front or explicitly show where we're not united.
Yes.
So we talk a lot. It's a weird relationship to have.
Totally. But
do you feel like we have a weird relationship?
No, I don't think I think it's very unique in the sense that we're friends.
That's a better word because it is good thing. It's a good thing.
Because we're building a friendship, but we're also building a business together. And we started both very close together. Like we're like, oh, we're friends. Oh, let's start this business.
So did Amy and I though, and I actually think it has worked out better.
Yes,
we weren't
for sure.
friends
And you're good
before,
at that. Yes.
And you and I weren't like friends before.
Yeah.
Unless you count weeks, which is same with Amy and I. Like weeks of like I like this person, I respect this person. I think they have a vision that I can go with and that we can align.
Yes.
But other than that, like I didn't know your favorite, like, I mean, I know your favorite food now, it's oranges, but like, I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
And so it's been like a total leap of faith, but communication, and we've been direct with each other, expectations for this business that we're growing. And it is only strengthening everything for the future, even if it feels awkward or harsh in the moment.
Yes.
So much better.
We've had a couple of those.
Listen, Alex is a tardy cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're a storm.
Yeah. I've had a couple like breakdowns. Not like, I hope people know, I don't really cry. So when I say breakdowns or meltdown, what I mean by that is like,
just
I'm a little
angry.
bit anxious in my head for like 10 minutes. And to me, that's like a massive breakdown.
Yes. But it peaks, but then it comes down quick.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm like, oh my God, I need to solve this. But yeah, the communication, I think is good. I wanted to say, who I do know did that to you at the podcast.
Who?
Was me.
Oh.
And not only, I don't know if you remember this, because I don't think your memory is like as sharp. Do you remember when we first met, you were still doing your other podcast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Healthy choices.
And I didn't even know that you stopped that podcast.
For this.
Yeah, but you hadn't. There was a little disconnect, okay?
Okay.
So you had this podcast. I met Alex in January 2022. And you're like, oh, I do this. And I was like, that's really cool. And then I was like, are you gay also in the same day? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay, well, I don't know. And so the same conversation happened. I figured out who you have sex with and that you have a podcast in the same day. Big day. So I was like, we didn't work together again. Like I work at this coffee shop 6 hours a week to make friends. And I never worked with Alex again for like a month. And I was saying to another person we work with, oh, Alex has that podcast, like, tell me about it. And they were like, oh, I think he stopped doing it. And I was like, last time I talked to him, he was like, I'm like super committed. I want like this podcast or a podcast to be like a big thing. And I heard that and my brain, I mean, the scheming that started happening immediately, I was like, oh, he's available and he has the equipment.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that calculated.
Oh yeah. I think you had like kind of stopped for a couple weeks.
Yeah. Well, what it was is I stopped the interview one and I started Healthy Choices, which was just me in a beautiful landscape talking about different health topics.
Bob Ross.
Kind of, but except
Beautiful.
Except beautiful.
Bob
Except
Ross
gorgeous.
is beautiful. Shut the fuck up.
No, I'm just kidding.
You are gorgeous in your beautiful nature.
And my same
In your
outfit.
white shirt. He's wearing headphones today though, because he's listening to us record.
Yeah. Today, since Ilya's not here, I'm Ilya.
But yeah, part of our origin story is I heard that and I was, I just moved. And actually, this is a good transition. We're just today's just a conversation. We're just chatting.
We're just chilling today,
We're going to give you
y'all.
some advice. I think people should move is going to be my kind of overall statement. But I had just moved and there was a time in my life where I'd wanted a podcast and I wanted to have like a friendship podcast, like kind of just talking about communication boundaries and all of those sorts of things. And then that friendship with that girl that we were going to start it completely collapsed.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting?
That is, yeah.
It was definitely a moment of reflection for me. And, no one's ever the whole problem. So I'm sure it was pretty much a 50-50 collapse. But
Okay.
yeah. So when you stopped, and I knew how funny you were and I knew how engaging you were and other people responded well to you. People around town were like asking about you at this coffee shop. Like, is Alex in? Like the phone will ring. Is Alex there? No. Oh, okay. I'll track him down. I was like, what? So
Whoa,
I knew
weird.
you had a good like energy and that people were drawn to you. And so I think I told you, and I don't even know exactly how I did it. This part wasn't calculated, but I was just like, I really, like, I heard you're not doing it. Like, are you going to do another podcast? Like, I've kind of wanted to do one. Like, tell me about your process. And similar to how Amy and I started, I wasn't just like, do you want to start a wedding planning company and quit your job? I was like, I'd kind of like to do this. Like I felt you out. I gave you the option to say no, but it was definitely calculated.
Yeah.
I really, I was like, I took advantage of an opportunity, but I didn't want to be the guest on one show.
No,
I was like, no, this is my show then. We're doing this.
It's funny how things like manifesting. I don't believe it, I believe in manifesting when thoughts become real, but in a more practical way, not in like this like.
So do I.
The universe like
it's your
gave
actions.
me this Tesla and Gucci bag. I don't believe in that shit.
You sold your vagina, which is fine.
But let's be real.
But like, come on.
But I do believe when things. So I like a year ago, I was like, I need a female co-host to make an entertainment-based podcast. I need this.
Here I am, baby.
And
signed, sealed, delivered. I'm yours.
Okay. So it's crazy how that ended up happening. But today's topic with moving.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that moving is probably the best, one of the healthiest thing for your brain to do. Especially if you have to like rebuild a lot of things in your life, it teaches you so much. It was my university, truly. Like I didn't finish college, so I just like moved and moved to Portland. Didn't know anyone within 900 miles, anyone.
Right.
And started from scratch and I really do. And I stayed there for 5 years and I learned so much.
I think even short-term moves without a
Yes.
long-term plan are so amazing. Even just, a 1-year thing.
Yeah.
I have a lot of friends. So I'm turning 28 soon. So a lot of my friends are 27-ish and they have been doing 1-year moves and some have stayed longer. But no one's come back earlier. But some have stayed longer, and it's turned into a permanent move. And just watching them take that leap of faith to find an apartment in a city across the country where they didn't know anyone, or in other countries, is so fucking cool. So it doesn't have to be like I'm moving here, and then here's my 10-year plan.
Yes,
I think it's really just such an awesome moment of growth for those who have less commitments, who are single or even with a partner but without children. You can just move for like a year.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be like me. I was like, school districts, whatever, because I have a kid.
Yeah.
So this is more of a long-term move, but still the best thing I've done.
For sure. And for me, I was 19 when I bought my one-way ticket.
Right.
And so me and a friend of mine who passed away recently, but me and him.
I'm sorry.
No, that's all right. I had a dream about him last night. Crazy fucking dream. Super vivid. It was crazy. Anyways,
let's do a dream episode soon. So hold that, you guys. We'll do one. We should get an expert on for that.
Oh, for sure.
That would be really cool. Okay.
And his mom had buddy passes to like on the
flights.
Yeah, on the flight. So we took we were smoking. This is when I used to smoke. 9 a.m., 9:30. Smoking a cigarette in his driveway, talking about
you smoke cigarettes too?
Oh my God,
Were you a chain smoker?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
My mom was like, she went cold turkey one day, but in her youth, she was also.
So we were smoking a cigarette in his driveway, and then we were like, he's like, yeah, my mom has buddy passes. Someday we should use them. And I was like, okay, cool. 3-4 o'clock that afternoon, we were on a plane
I love
to
19-year-olds.
Portland.
That's
yes.
so awesome.
Oh my God.
It's honestly easier at 19
to
make that choice. And like today, when we kind of break down our experiences and you moved to San Diego after Portland. We've never really talked about that. So that would be really cool to hear more about, because you were a little bit older.
Yeah.
And it does get harder. I get that it's harder mentally to move, but financially, it's probably actually easier when you're older. I think it's totally a mental block for most people.
For sure.
Really quickly, should we touch on one part of this, which is moving will not help you escape your problems if there are problems at home to be dealt with.
Hell no.
You can't run away from a heartbreak if you're not willing to do the work. If you move to, let's say, I don't know, Florida, don't do that. But if you move to Florida because you had a breakup back in Washington, I really don't know anyone who's done this, so this is super just pulling out of the air. But when you move to Florida, you stay in your apartment all day and smoke weed and like hang out with your cat, and you don't like go into the city and explore new people and meet people and have a job or social clubs that like let you get out there. Moving to Florida and having the sunshine will not fix your problems. It's not just the move. You can't run away from finances. You can't run away from fucking kids if you have kids. I know people have done that.
They ran away from their kids?
From Georgia to Washington.
Oh,
daddy,
shit.
bad daddy of someone I know. Oh, shit. Yeah.
Oh,
so
my God.
moving is not like a Band-Aid, but what it can be is a launch pad, I think.
For sure.
So I just want to say
a lot of lessons. Yeah, I moved my first year working. I worked 3 different jobs, pumping gas.
In Oregon,
Oregon,
because they pump your gas.
Yes, at an airport job, and then in produce. For a year or two, I didn't even come out in my workplaces, not knowing anyone from 900 miles or more around me. I'd never even told anyone I was gay because I was still like mentally closeted.
Right, you didn't just move and feel the confidence and like self-acceptance.
Hell no.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. So
it's not
going to fix your problems.
You have to be ready for like when you get on that plane, and it still worked out for you that you moved. But if you think that, if you're ashamed of your sexuality and you get on a plane, that's going to go away.
Yeah.
That's not going to go away without just as much work wherever you land. But if you, let's say, again, you live in Iowa and you're like, I'm going to LA, I'm going to go live in WeHo.
Yeah.
and you're ready to come out. You're getting on that plane. You're putting on a new outfit. And
Which
you're
WeHo?
West Hollywood.
Why are you so mad at
You
me?
are the straightest queer man that I have the pleasure of knowing.
Oh, is it a gay? It's a gay area.
Yes.
Okay.
Like one of the biggest in the country. It's where that Ed Buck, that murderer who injected
West
heroin.
Hollywood. Yes. That makes sense.
So if you're ready and you're like, yeah, the second I get on this plane, fuck my family, fuck my friends. Hell yeah, get on that plane. Your problems will be solved. Like if you've done the emotional work where you're like, I'm coming out the second I go, that is going to be like such a healing moment for you and you're going to be able to be yourself. But if you're still like, if you haven't done that work and acceptance inside yourself, getting on the plane isn't going to magically fix everything. But if you can do the self-work before and you land, your world is just going to open up.
Oh, hell yeah. And
if you can leave in like a little bit of a positive mindset and a little bit of a plan.
Yes. I had no plan. Barely any finances.
Still better that you left. I still think it's better than you left, but it wasn't like
I don't regret it. I would do it
fix.
again for sure. If I moved back in time, I would do the same thing over again because I learned so much shit. There was so many things I had to learn. I learned how to, have consistent money wise. You
budgeting.
need to budget. You don't even have a choice. And I didn't have
in my early 20s, I wrote everything down on a notepad.
Oh my God.
Everything, like my income, my outcome. That's not the word, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. I didn't even do that. I just was I just looked at the money I had. I'm waiting till the end of the month. I'm like, oh, shit. It was a lot. I didn't even have a car in the beginning stages. I would just ride my bike around. Thankfully, Portland.
So when you got there, it was such a quick decision. I'm sure, had you been thinking about moving for a while?
Oh, yeah. I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what did you do when you land? Because I think part of what's so intimidating for people is where do you find a place to live? How do you find roommates?
I winged it.
Craigslist?
Yeah, Craigslist.
Yeah?
I found this place. I found this dude. Someone's like, oh, I live in Portland. Gresham is Portland, but it's not Portland.
How far is it?
It's just east. It's a really ghetto town.
Okay.
Not east. Yeah, east of Portland. And it's
it's so funny when you say ghetto because I've never used the word or really have anything in my mind, but I always think of Elvis Presley singing in the ghetto in a long dark night and Alex went to the ghetto.
I just remember it was 172nd. I pulled up in the church.
Should you be telling people this?
The
address?
No, it wasn't an address. It was a stop on the tram or whatever it is.
Oh, okay.
And so I pulled up.
So you think you're going to Portland, the cool city of Portland.
And then I get out. It's 11:30 at night. I pull up and there's, of course, sirens. There's 4 police officers.
The train stations around Portland are actually terrifying.
And then there's 4 guys laying on the ground with cops around them. One of them has a gun pointed at him.
That sounds pretty normal.
And then I get out and I go to this apartment because I messaged this dude on Craigslist and he was like, yeah, it's we do couch surfing or whatever. And he had
couch surfing.
He had this Indian obviously Indian from India. I would not call Native people Indians, but stuff on the ad. Oh my God. I go there.
Okay.
And I assumed on the phone, he was talking in an Indian accent. So I was like, oh, it's an Indian guy for some reason. And I get to this weird ass apartment complex that looks like a motel, but it's actually an apartment complex. I go in and it's this rail thin, skinny gay guy with pale white. And he's half speaking in an accent, half talking normally. Oh. And he's drinking vodka on ice in a cup.
Oh my God.
I'm sorry, Mom. I never told my mom this, but and I'm like, oh, he's like, come in. Thankfully, there was a kind of normal-ish couple sitting there.
Okay. Who also did the couch sharing?
Yeah, or something. And he's talking a million miles a minute and his upper lip isn't moving. And he's and I was, in my mind, the way I rationalized it, I was like, okay, super skinny. If anything happens, I just do one quick punch and knock this motherfucker out and get her. Yeah, that was my 5-year plan. Is punching that. Anyways,
I always tell
crazy.
Ben if he crosses the line, I'll sit on him because I feel like I could just hold him down.
Oh my God.
He's pretty thin.
He's the, yeah, maybe.
Not like I don't think he's sickly thin, but he's pretty thin.
He's
I'm like,
thin.
I could sit on you.
He's like, all right, you win. But anyways, yeah, so this dude, and then I woke up at night, he was peeing in his closet, and I was like, oh my God.
So you got the hell out of there.
So yeah, I stayed there 2 nights.
Oh my God. That is hell on earth.
Yeah, it was so fucked up. And thankfully, the people that were there, they seemed normal. But then the more I talked to them, I was like, oh, they're so far gone. Like,
okay, well, that's Alex's what not to do.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. Okay, so the thing is that you moved 10 years ago, though.
Yes.
So now, when I moved here, I did move with the intention of buying a house versus like an apartment, and I didn't have to find roommates. I'm married, so I understand that it's a little bit different. But there also, I hope there's young married people listening to this who like are hesitant about moving because they have a baby or something, and it's really not that hard. I don't know. Once you get past the mental block of the like, oh, what if I never see my friends or my family and then I'll miss them and like money and blah, blah, blah. If you want to make it happen, you'll make it happen. Just change your mindset. Like
Hallelujah.
you're moving. I'm moving. Yeah,
Yes.
It's hard. I am literally just getting my couch delivered in 2 weeks, I think. Like all of my furniture.
Oh, yeah, you don't have a sofa.
It's taken 5 months. But you know what? I've
You made
been
it work.
happier here in the sun with like my little cushions in the living room than I would have been in the winter of Seattle.
for sure. And, yeah, you have a gorgeous house and it's all working for you.
We have Facebook now. We've got all these like apps about like finding roommates in different areas to live. You can find like
Virtual
what
reality
restaurants-
headsets.
Shut the fuck up. You can find like restaurants in the area, walking distance, parks. For me, I did look at school districts a little bit, but I basically, because we were looking at houses, I put Zillow in San Diego County and then just put it out like honestly like 2 hours, which would be close to like Palm Springs. And we weren't going to go that far, but I wanted to see all the different areas around San Diego. And I'm not a big suburb person. So I think something before you move is to like decide what style of life you want to have. And for me, I'm either in the city, like in a place like Hillcrest, which is our gay neighborhood here. Did you know that? You did?
I did, yeah.
High five.
The gayborhood.
King of the gays. Oh, cute.
That's what they called it, at
Gayborhood?
least. Gayborhood.
That's funny. Or rural. I was like, I could also just like live in the mountains and not, you know, have to be in the city every day, but I have a lot of space. So I either want to be like totally nestled in or totally free. And the suburbs to me, it's like, I just imagine people like poking their little noses over the fence lines. And it's like, not everyone knows everyone, but you kind of know. And like the neighborhood you live in within the larger suburb matters. And the school districts are like, who knows who and PTA. And so not for me. I'm a little bit intimidated.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that. I tell all my family this. They all live in the suburbs. And I'm always like, I hate the suburbs. And they're like, we know. But I hate it. It just like scares me. So pick where you want to live, but then also pick like a backup. Don't just go. Like you kind of did it wrong.
Oh, or I think...
Because you didn't research
I didn't have an
what
identity.
is Gresham.
I didn't have an identity.
Okay.
So even if I were to plan
get
it
an
out...
identity.
Well, even if I were to plan it out,
You
it
don't think
wouldn't
you
have
would have
got-
known what you would have even liked.
Exactly.
You know, that's also a fair time to move, though. We moved at different times. I was 27, established. You were 19, leaving home. This is really good, though.
I never worked anything outside of a minimum wage job at that point. Like, never made that much.
At 15 or 19, excuse me.
Like, I didn't know anything. I didn't even know how to use a fucking laundry machine.
That's
I'm
right.
not even
you mentioned
joking.
that. Your mom had done all your laundry.
Yes.
Saint Ivanette, you're too good to him.
Yes, and which I'm grateful for. I mean, I don't want my mom to feel guilty about that. But
no, that's what I'm saying. You're too good to Alex.
Yeah,
Alex
like,
doesn't deserve you.
Exactly.
I want to make that clear. Ivanette, you may come do my laundry.
But yeah, so like I didn't know, and I needed to learn all of that. So Portland was just a great like ground for me to like create a foundation for myself.
Well, so in a certain way, then I guess you did do what I was saying then, because you did choose an area that you knew resonated with you or that you were interested in at least.
I've been there before. I saw these people riding around on their bikes. There's like these art painted on the streets.
Everywhere.
Chickens. Yes, literally. So I was like, this is going to work.
No, and I think that's huge. So I guess if you're not...
That's true. Yeah, I did.
If you're not as certain about exactly what you love, there's no problem like trying out different things, but try to get an idea. It'll make your experience a lot better, I think.
Totally.
I've had friends, like one of my best friends lives in Boston now and her lease is coming up. She lives in the cutest, like cobblestone, old Boston neighborhood with townhouses that are brick. She's just like a few minutes from the Boston Commons, and
Yes, I know exactly what you're
Harvard's
talking
across
about.
the bay.
Yes.
And it is exactly what she wanted. She has her little beautiful Havashoe and like her little puppy. She's so happy. She's gone out. She's met people. She doesn't have a car there. So like she needed a walking neighborhood. She works
Yes.
remote. Like all of these things. She did it so smart, and she's been so happy there because she went and visited. She like chose a neighborhood. She knew what she wanted. So she didn't just move to fucking Boston and then be like, I'm in downtown and I hate it.
Yeah, it would not have worked if I like moved to New York or something, or like
You have
Nashville
to
or
be so
something.
sure
Yeah.
about what you want as a whole city vibe, and then neighborhood wise, what fits your lifestyle.
Yeah, so it thankfully worked, and there's a lot of work to do for me to get to the point like now I can easily go anywhere I'd like, and I could make it work for myself. I'd find a place.
Just
like
as who you are now.
Yes.
Like you would like to meet people and explore places that maybe are outside of your comfort zone.
Totally.
But you've done this after you feel that way after like multiple moves.
Yes.
See,
2 moves.
I've only moved really the one time.
Oh yeah, you lived in Seattle that whole time.
The only time I left was for college. I went to Washington State University.
But it was in Washington.
It was, but it was 5 hours away. So it was a 5-hour drive, and I was on the border of Idaho. So it was still a move. I mean, I couldn't just go home super easily.
Yeah.
I still went home quite a lot to see my dad, but it wasn't, it was like every few months.
Totally.
So I felt like I got time away from my home, but I'd always been very independent in terms of being a child with my parents.
For sure, I can see that.
Codependent, I think, with my friendships.
Yes.
And they went to Wazoo. So my best friend who lives in San Diego now, Lauren, she also went to Wazoo. Morgane, my other best friend, also went to Wazoo. So I met these people. Lauren and I had gone to high school together. Then we went to college, became friends in college. She moved to San Diego a year and a half ago. And that was a big part. I don't think I've always wanted to live in San Diego, but Lauren being here was a big like warm blanket.
Oh,
it
yes,
wasn't
yes,
like
for sure.
she's the reason I moved, but I just was so happy she was here. I was like, well, I do have a best friend here.
Yes.
And that, it's not always necessary.
It's
but
not,
for me
but it's
as a
good.
mom, I was
Yeah.
really excited because like to lose my whole support system and have a 1-year-old, that would be really hard. So
For sure.
I chose to move somewhere where there was at least a little familiarity.
Yes, it's definitely not a flex to be like, I moved somewhere where I knew no one. It was very much an identity crisis on my end.
As a younger person, though, it is kind of a flex. And even like, I don't know, if you don't have anything tying you down, being a mom, I need my son to also have connections. I need him to
Yeah.
meet people. And of course, the onus is on me to meet new people. But having, like, Lauren is watching him tonight while I go to happy hour with a new friend I made. So, like, my best friend is watching my son while I go out with another girl trying to, like, make more friends.
Totally.
So I'm just really grateful to have that here.
Totally.
Okay, so what brought you?
To San Diego?
Yeah. I don't think I've
so I
ever
just-
asked.
No,
and
no, no.
when did you move here? I literally, like, we know Portland, we know this, and I don't know anything else.
So Portland, almost 5 years on the day I was
you
in
have
Portland.
said that.
And
Okay.
I don't know if it was a little more or a little less, but like then I left back home with my dad and my mom. I just stayed there for 6 months, 5 or 6 months,
As
just to
you
hang
do.
out. Well, just to hang. I really felt like I was like shit. I had just come out to them, so I was like, let me just
yeah.
hang out with them. But then I moved with some dude that I was dating, so I didn't really get to spend as much time with them as I wanted to, and it was like still my.
You moved into a place in Boston with a guy you were dating?
Yes. Well,
First
I was at my parents' house, and then
Sure.
when he moved there, we rented a place out with my friend. She lived in the same town. We ended up moving in there. It was, and then what? Oh yeah. So then I got a his mom.
The
was
boyfriend.
Like, yes.
Okay.
He was like, oh, they were growing a lot of cannabis. Like it was a pretty illegal amount.
Okay.
And
Especially there.
Well, it was here in California.
Oh.
And it was
But 6 years ago, was it legal to grow?
It was 3 years ago.
Oh.
Yeah, 3 years ago I moved because I'm 30 now.
Is your
No, it's
timeline
40.
right?
Yeah, well, it was over 3 years ago that I moved here. I was in Boston for 6 months.
I understand.
And then I moved to, but I moved to that area in Riverside County, hot mess. Like
Yeah.
it was crazy. I don't want to say too much just in case she's watching, but it was like
I feel like you don't calculate your moves.
yeah, it was not calculated.
And it's not always a bad thing. I think the fun part about both of our experiences is that there are really good things that came out of both of them. I think mine was just a little more like very planned.
Yes, for me.
And
but
yours
she was like,
let's do this.
she was like, oh, I have a soap business and you can trim some weed. Like you'll have a lot of money while you're here. You're able to like create little. We got there and it was not like that at all. The stepdad was like, what do you mean you're going to get money? You're going to maybe make a little bit here and there, but dude, you're going to pay for your rent.
So no one was on the same page.
Not at all. And
this
once
you
I
moved
heard
with your
that,
boyfriend?
yeah, once I heard that, I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
And was he connected with those people?
That was his parents, yeah.
Oh, those were his parents.
Yeah.
Got it.
Sorry,
oh my
I'm
gosh.
like all over the place.
No,
and then,
you're fine.
And then I got this is for anyone that's even at whatever age. There's a website called workaway.org.
Where you can like do work exchanges.
Work exchanges.
Totally. Which is
Workaway
actually a really
something.
cool option, especially again, for people who don't really have any ties.
Yes.
Super sick.
And so me and him made an account, and then we got a job offer here in for
Ilya, bleep that so that our 100 fucking fans don't bang down my door.
Yes, so sorry.
Alex,
I'm sorry.
it's hard being so famous. I'm a 3-point star podcaster.
with a little over 300 streams.
Yes,
But just for future reference, I get it. So in the town that I'm living in now, we got a job opportunity to work at a yoga retreat place. Doing maintenance on the house and building these cabins and digging up trails to these cabins and doing all this kind of stuff. So I was like, okay, it would be a good like kind of starting
Had you
point.
visited here before you moved here?
We came to check out the place.
Okay.
But we didn't move. We didn't like see the whole place. We were just like, yeah, that sounds sick.
It's like one street.
Sounds sick, yeah.
Did you see the one street?
No.
Really?
And we just went to the place and we were like, oh, this is gorgeous. This would be nice.
And you didn't even look at like...
Girl, I wing everything. It's
Damn.
not good. Yeah,
it's
spontaneous
not bad,
part.
though. I love spontaneous. I actually think this is good for our listeners because you can do it both ways. And this is like, this place I feel like is just your home.
Yeah,
You
for
just
sure.
fell in love with it.
And I felt like it like landed here and like had a great experience here so far. But yeah, and then we started working there. Like the first month we were here, I was like, look, homie, you can still live. We can live in here, but we can't live together. This is not
Can
gonna
you
work.
please again bleep out my home
Oh,
for all of our stalkers?
again, we'll bleep that, Ilya. Thanks, but we can stay here. But we can't live in the same house
Ooh,
anymore.
I love
We're not,
that.
I was like, we're not. This is not a romance. I ate a little bit of psychedelic mushrooms, and then sorry, mom, and then realized that it was like, oh shit, this is why this is not working.
Did you have like an ego death?
Not an ego death. It was
wasn't
just
that
like I was
many.
just like, oh, this is not working because this is not ever gonna work.
Got it. I love those revelations.
And it was
so it was
clear-
like a breakup.
It was a clear breakup. I was like,
Okay.
we're not living together. This is not a romantic relationship.
I thought
this
you were
never
saying
was.
like you just couldn't live together anymore, which isn't always the beginning of the end if you're in a committed relationship. But for
Yeah.
you, it was.
Yeah, I was like, this is
it
done.
was over.
This was never
so he
supposed
left,
to happen.
I'm guessing.
Well, first he was gonna stay here. He designed a tarot deck, so he was gonna like do some readings here in town and stay
Okay.
for a bit. And then it just didn't. He just like took off and left. And I think he's married now.
well, good for him.
Yeah. Anyway, so I wung it, and then I
For
stayed here for a
everything,
bit. Yeah,
for all of 'em.
And then I stayed here, started working at a cafe, and then met a ton of people through there, and just like it ended up working really well for me.
I love that.
Yeah, and I met you. I met a ton of people. Yeah,
That's so cool.
Yeah.
No, I think that's awesome. I mean, I do think having a little bit of a plan to avoid,
Yes.
some of the apartments that you ended up in Portland, and we don't need to go into like all of the stories,
No.
but he never had like a really like, I don't know, the first try maybe wasn't the best try.
Hell no. Yeah,
You
and I always
know?
say like it. It's
in like
hard
in
to
a dangerous way.
Yeah, I
Not
never-
like a this isn't my neighborhood, but like a I'm unsafe
Yes.
here.
But even if I had like a safe area to live in, until recently, I never created a home
Totally.
ever.
And that sometimes takes a while. And I don't think that should prohibit someone from moving either.
Yeah.
If in your mind you're like, I don't know if I want to move to Boston.
Yeah.
But why not? Why not just try it? You never know until you try it if you're not totally tied to where you were before. And I think that's so wonderful about what you did. And then you stumbled in to this place that just fits you and that you feel like you align with. And San Diego is so accessible to us for all of the like more city things that we need to do.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
More metropolitan area is
more money.
Very close to us. So it's not like we're hours out in the middle of nowhere. It feels like the middle of nowhere, but we're pretty much down or up the hill from everything we would need access to.
Which is great. Yeah, so it worked.
That's why
works.
I moved here is because of that access. So I don't know, for me, I had an experience where when I was young in college, I think my mom passing away at 18 for me really derailed everything.
I mean,
just emotionally and then also, financially, all of it. Like I really was just in this position where I had these ideas and dreams. I wanted to be a lawyer at one point for a long time. So I wanted to be a wedding.
You would kill it being a lawyer, bitch. Come on.
If I liked school at all. So I wanted to be a wedding planner and then I switched to wanting to be a lawyer and then I ended up going into sales. And then finally, I did it pretty young, but I found my way back to being a wedding planner. And I do think that was like my calling.
Oh, for sure. But you would kill it being a lawyer.
It would be fun. And I do feel like I need to get involved socially a little more. So I'm going to try to figure out like, how can I get into politics without being like a lawyer? Because that's not what I want to do.
President Chloe.
Oh, goodness. They can't really do anything. Yeah. But I wanted to live in New York. Like that was a big thing. I visited one of my best friends. He still lives in New York when I was 20. And I just absolutely loved it. But I just was not in a place where I was willing to like fully commit myself to any big decisions. I was just floating around trying to make my mental health
stable.
Float.
Yeah.
Literally. So I did the college thing. I dropped out at the time where I was like, whoa, this is not what I want. And I dropped out of college. And for me, it was an amazing choice. Even though I was a senior, some people would not agree that that's an amazing choice, but
fuck it.
Worked out for me. And I went back to the Seattle area. I got an apartment right away. I haven't lived at home since I was 17. And I love it. Like, I love the energy of Seattle. And I really liked the people. I met Ben, my husband, really quickly after that. And I was shocked. And that's kind of, I think, what ended up keeping me in Washington for the next 5 years, where at 22, I think I was 22 when I moved back to the Seattle area after college. And I just was, the second I met him and he said he was from San Diego, I was like, well, that's where I've wanted to live like my whole life. And I really liked him. I knew there was a future. When Ben and I met on Tinder, I was in San Francisco. I'm obsessed with, I love California. I've always wanted to be here. So I was with my best friend Morgane, who lives in LA now. And I was like, I think he might be the one. I'm talking on Tinder to this guy. And we switched to phone numbers. And I just had this feeling. We'd never met yet. And I was like, there's this energy. I just feel like this might be my person. And I was 22.
Oh, you're good at that, huh?
Hadn't had a good relationship since I was 17. It had been 5 years and I had only gone on one Tinder date before. So in the years I'd had Tinder, he was my second date. And he had to beg me to meet him. He's like, I just moved to Seattle from San Diego. I just moved 4 days ago. And he was, this is what got me, you guys, because he had moved and it really impressed me. I was like, good for you, taking control of your story. But his story was via Tinder that he had lost his job. And when he went to call his girlfriend to tell her, she broke up with him.
Because of the job loss?
Just in general, it was over. So on the same day in San Diego as a 24-year-old recent grad, he lost his job and his girlfriend on the same day. And 4 months later, he moved to Seattle.
Whoa.
I was compelled. He said, I'm living on a couch. I don't have my own place.
You were like, great, I got something to work with here.
Yes. I was like, and I'm not even a fixer, but I was so amused that he told me this so candidly. And I was kind of bored. I was like, okay. So he's like, but we have to meet. And so I brought all my roommates and he brought all his roommates because I wouldn't meet him one-on-one because the last time I did that, the guy was this weird, very vegan man. And, we went out and I just knew. So I was like, well, I'm not moving to San Diego now. I'm not moving to New York. I found someone that I'm invested in and I knew. just in my
Aw.
heart. So I was like, fuck, well, I'm staying in Seattle. And so I gave him his time and his space to explore Seattle and get what he needed. You know, we lived separately for a year and a half before we moved together. And then we picked different neighborhoods in Seattle. We lived in Fremont, which is a really fun young area. And then we moved to West Seattle to an apartment, which is more of like an alternative area. And then we bought a house in West Seattle together. And then we got married and then we had a baby. So once we did that, though, I was like, I'm out. We've done it all. Like, we've done everything. Like, can we just please go to San Diego now? And so it took years of begging to like get me back here. And I was like, we can go when I'm 30. And I moved the timeline 3 years. Because I just was like, I want to be here.
You trapped him with the baby, and now you get to get to say it.
I did what I had to do.
You get the last say and where you go.
You guys trap him with baby. It works every time.
Oh my God.
But yeah, I guess really long story. I had wanted to fucking move, and then I met my husband, and it was like, I have to wait him out.
That's funny.
Because it's a 2-person relationship.
Totally.
You can't just like, oh, you're going back to where all this pain was. It was like we had to get through it.
Totally. I maybe my mom remembers this. I'm like just talking to my mom. That's my audience member right now.
Oh, it probably is.
I talked to her when I was 18. I was like, I want to move to London.
I love that.
I was like, I didn't even know anything about, same thing. I was just going to move without knowing anything.
That was how it was about New York for me. And it hasn't happened yet, but I have a plan.
Oh, I have a plan. I have a plan potentially moving to Brazil for like a couple of months.
That'd
just
be
to
amazing.
see what and imagine the podcast.
Yeah.
Imagine the podcast Zoom and then have Brazil episode.
I mean, I could come for like a month because my schedule is so flexible. That'd be so fun.
Oh my God.
Ezra in Brazil. I know.
Oh, that is so cute.
I love it. Okay, so you wanted to go to London.
London. It was just like a
San
random.
San Diego, London.
Yeah.
We have better weather.
Yeah, for sure. And then I ended up living in Portland anyways. But yeah.
Actually, Portland and London weather-wise.
It's probably similar.
Except
it snows a lot more in London.
Yes.
And it's like... Yeah.
I actually haven't traveled internationally other than Mexico and Canada, but I'm going in August to France. I was supposed to go for my honeymoon 2 years ago. Obviously, with COVID, we didn't. So I'm traveling like internationally for the first time ever.
Cool.
We should summer.
That would be crazy. Maybe we could try a practice virtual episode.
We should.
Yeah.
We've already been talking about our schedule for the summer, and it's either like get a cool guest, like another podcaster to come on, or do like a virtual thing so we can finally get my friends on.
All three would be dope.
That would be awesome. No, we're excited to travel this summer because we're going to have to get jiggy with it with technology.
It's going to be cool. But moving is so, I really do. For people that are young or that someone that's young that's considering it, in my case, kind of like you really can't plan for the best situation. You gotta just wing it. Of course, I had like $3,000 that I had with that I brought with me, which is not a lot
of money though.
But still not a lot of money. But it was enough in Portland at the time to hold me over.
10 years ago, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, well we've obviously
10 years.
I know it's not crazy. We've driven home the point of like location. Try to like look it up a little bit. It'll just be an easier fix for you. If you know you like yoga, live by a yoga studio. If you know you like the mountains, don't move to the city. So like do things that work for you. Look up the political climate. Look up all of the things that are going to affect your day-to-day, your social life, economically. What is your job? If it's remote, do you make enough to live in a certain area? All of these factors matter. Weather matters. Weather is the biggest reason I'm here.
Same.
100% I move for weather. And I, even starting a business, this is a part I didn't talk about. And after I do, I want to move into relationships. Like how have we navigated that? And do you have any tips? Because it's weird moving away from everything you know.
Hell yeah.
But Amy and I started our business. So we had to get creative even on how to function from 2 locations. And I initially proposed the idea of moving to San Diego 2 years ago to my business partner. We had barely started our company. And so we have been building and communicating honestly about me wanting out. I didn't want to stay in Seattle, but I loved our business and I love our business. And now we have figured it out and it is amazing, but it took it took time and communication, but it's not impossible. I mean, I had a baby when I moved. I had to sell a house. We had to live with our in-laws. We had to buy a new house. I had a business that I'm trying to expand to San Diego and get clients here while still running the business that's in Seattle. I mean, it is not impossible, is all I'm saying, because I definitely did not move young and free and no attachments. I had every fucking attachment, and I just had to commit to it and know it was going to be a little bit of a struggle. But we were going to get here.
Yes, for sure. Committing, I think, is the main thing.
Committing, and just try to make it as easy on yourself as you can.
Yeah.
Try to make a few key decisions that are hard no's and hard yeses.
Totally.
I think it will just help get you out. And then once you're comfortable with the idea of moving, if that wasn't the right spot for you, move somewhere else. But the first time, it's got to be the hardest.
For sure. Taking that leap is best. Yeah.
It's huge. Okay, so how have your relationships shifted? Because you also moved from Portland to here. So maybe let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Friendships, everything. How do you communicate with them? How'd you make new friends?
I moved from Boston. I had a pretty tight group of friends, and it unfortunately just dwindled.
Well, it was high school. That's why I was more curious about Portland.
It was after high school. I graduated when I was like at the end of 17.
Okay.
And then like from 17 to 19, 2 years at the time was a lot to like, and I had a tight group of friends.
That's true.
But it was,
okay.
But it was party based, same thing, like no identity, no prospects for the future, no nothing.
They were just social friends.
But they were good friends that I would hang out with frequently, but I didn't have, again, a sense of identity, and I hadn't come out yet. There was so many, weirdly enough, like not coming out, I never thought about the future, ever planned for the future.
I hear that all the time.
I never, because I was like, I don't know what's going to happen, man. I don't know if I'm going to marry, I don't think I can marry a woman, but I could not marry a man.
I hear so many times before people like come out of the closet, whatever it is, like whether it's gay or like being trans, there's literally no future until they
do what they need to do. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
So I was just like, I don't know so I'm not even going to think about it. I'm just going to live my life day by day and then just work on that.
Totally.
And,
what a weird, I've always lived with an idea of what I wanted for myself.
Crazy. It's
changed, but I had a future. I was like, this is what I want. And this is what I want to work to no matter how I get there. And it's just fucking sucks that there are a lot of people who go through their adolescence without that inspiration and motivation.
Yeah, and thankfully it worked out. You know what I mean?
Of course it did. Thank God. But you also had people who, when you were ready, supported you.
Totally.
And
So then I moved, and I just started with a new kind of idea of what I wanted for myself. I was like, okay, I'm going to make it out alive regardless. So whatever I need to do. So I just started pretty much following my curiosity. I was really into, and I still am, regenerative agriculture. Mm-hmm. So urban farms and large scale regenerative agriculture farms and food forestry, which is like creating a edible forest for humans, which is all great. So
and you met friends through that in Portland.
Yes.
So that's where you started to find your identity.
Yes. So I just kept following my curiosity, going to events.
Go do hobbies that you like. That's I feel like the biggest tip of moving. Like, again, I said yoga. If you like yoga, go join a yoga studio. If you like books, go join a book club. Do these things, because you're not going to be able to move successfully unless you follow your interests.
Yes. Follow your interests. And then, have a solid work ethic.
For sure.
Because you can create a lot of great relationships being even a bad worker. Like, I was a bad worker for the beginning stages, but
same. I was the worst.
My charisma, like the way I come off, it got me through a lot of shitty work.
I would call out of every other shift because I was not feeling well. And the reason I was always sick was because I was drinking every day.
Totally.
I was the worst.
And
I'm a totally different person. If I came to work, they were like, oh, and then I do think it got to the point where they were kind of over it.
Yes.
But I was in college. Whatever.
I never skipped work a lot, but I was just really dumb. I would just not do stuff very well. And it wasn't very consistent. consistent and like still maybe I am that way.
At least you showed up.
Yeah, at least
you fucking showed up, man. I have no excuse.
And I would just come in and be like,
worst.
hey, blah, blah, and I would like make up dances at work, and people just like that about me. So have something that you can work is really good to start relationships and maintain relationship connections.
That is why I got a job in this town that I moved to. I called the owner of the coffee shop a month before I even moved here and sold myself. I called her from 5 hours away and said, hi, I'm putting in an offer on a house. I own a business. This is what I do. This is my first priority. And I don't have a ton of time, but what I do have are these days. And I was a barista for years. I would love to help you. I don't need to be trained. And I really like people. I'm amazing at customer service. So I can come in and just work for you without the training hassle. And she was like, okay, well, it's like minimum wage. And I was like, well, yeah, I know. I'm not like, I think I make $60 a week, Alex.
I know.
From my coffee shop because I just don't work at all. But I did it to meet friends. That was something that I knew I had to push myself. I'm not going to go to a restaurant and sit at a bar and then like chat with people. Yeah. But if I'm in a frontward facing job. So if you do have a job like I do where maybe you're making enough money, you can still get like a second job for a period of time. If you move somewhere new, if you used to be a bartender, try it for a couple days a week. That is how I met Alex. That's how I made all my friends. Yep. I am not in it for the money. Clearly, I mean, $50 a week in San Diego just doesn't do anything.
Doesn't do anything.
Maybe that does in other places, but I really did plan this trip, Alex. I feel like, or my move, I really had it like, what do I need to do to make sure I'm happy? Because I'm leaving my dad, my best friends, Amy.
Oh my God.
I mean, crazy.
I had nothing to lose, so I was like, fuck it.
I love it though, but I think that's amazing. And it shows people who are, either on one side or the other, like being married with a baby and a business in a town or a city is something you would think you would not move away from. Yeah. And for you, people might be like, oh, it was just like an impulse decision, like he'll be back. And for both of us,
a lot of people did think that.
Did they? Yeah. See, no one questioned me. That was the one nice thing is I had a lot of like respect garnered. They were like, oh, this must be calculated.
Yes.
And so she'll be successful. And we're all so happy. We had a giant going away party and like all of the things you do when you're an adult moving. And then people questioned it. But you know what? Also at 19, you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So that helps. That helped. The mentality helps.
I was like, and they could be right. Maybe it won't.
Friendships though. You're avoiding my...
Oh, I would just make friends with...
how have you kept them since moving to San Diego though? That's what I want to talk about.
Kept those friends?
Yeah. Like for people who are worried about like... Some people move and they kind of want to start a new friend group, I guess, and new relationships and maybe not engage with the old ones. And some people like me want that, but they also want to very badly keep those friends. Where were you at? I guess I should ask that first.
I guess it's hard for me to maintain relationships from a distance.
Okay.
With my family, it's already hard enough.
Ben struggles with that. He has a really hard time, like, just picking up the phone.
Yes. I have a few... close inner circle friends that I talk about everything with. A couple of three cousins, and like a friend that like even if we don't talk for like 6 months, we start talking. We're like it's just like the same thing as we were when we were in 7th grade. So those friends I keep close.
Boston or Portland?
Yeah, Boston.
So do you have any friends from Portland?
From Portland,
or was that more just like a growing period of your life?
I think it was a growing period. I still talk to some of them.
But
and I've been to retreats.
I've
been to retreats at places that I've made connections with there. But it wasn't acquaintances. It just was like I just don't. It's just a different. It was a different time in my life.
Is it more as an acquaintance now, though?
Yeah, and it's like it was more like a time in my life that I was growing, and then like now, and it was like some of it was a spiritual community.
Sure.
Some of it was I guess I don't.
But you were okay with that when you moved here. You kind of had the feeling that you were going to let some of that fade away.
Yes, it wasn't like there was a falling out or anything. I'm just like, oh, I was done here, and then my purpose, and now I'm moving on.
Again, opposite for me.
Yeah,
which this is good because you can move. I think the reason you moved in the first place was to like find yourself, and it wasn't like anything was necessarily bad at home. You weren't running away from like a one bad thing you wouldn't address.
Yes,
but you did need to find yourself, and there were a lot of little things you needed to address. So
totally.
When I moved again just recently, and as a 27-year-old, so 7 years older, or 8 years older than when you moved, I love my friends. You know, there are friends that some have already moved away. Some are in Boston, Chicago, had moved to LA or San Diego or whatever the case may be. And so I'd had some practice in keeping those relationships. So my oldest friend for 21 years, she's in Chicago and she's a chef and she's going to then go to Thailand and then Europe. Like, I'm not going to see her often.
Yeah.
But she is my oldest friend and we pick up the phone every like few months. We also exchange texts. She's a chef. I'm a wedding planner. We can't text. We don't have the same schedule.
Totally.
But my advice there is pick up the phone when you can. The longer it goes, the harder it is. So try to have somewhat of a schedule. But I'd had that practice. So when I left Seattle, I mean, I'm trying to think and I feel bad if I'm forgetting anyone, but I like have 2 best friends, like really close friends.
Inner circle.
Inner circle.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. Like, my inner circle has obviously tightened a lot as I get older and, you know, as life goes on. But Amy, my business partner, is like my best friend in the world because we're life partners. You know, we've committed to this lifelong company.
Yeah.
And then my best friend, Jillian, who's a adult friend that I made in adulthood, but with her also comes a lot of other friends like through her and other close friends. I have a lot of like close friends in Seattle that I would see socially and get together with and that would come to all my events and, you know, do that with. And I really needed to make sure that Amy and Jillian, like those relationships were nurtured.
Yes,
and then
totally.
I have my I'm like name dropping all my friends, but this is, I mean, some of them I've been friends 21 years, 15 years, 10 years.
Totally.
So Hannah, Zaylee, Lauren, and Morgane are my other friends. And luckily I have 2 of them here, but that's like 7 people that I need to nurture relationships with all across the fucking country.
Totally.
And so I guess if you have, you know, I started out with all those friends. Like, we had friend groups that we would go to the same restaurants. We would go out to happy hour. We would have Halloween parties and be together.
Yeah.
And that starts to fade as you get older anyway.
Yes.
If you haven't been the first to move, if you're younger listening to this, your friends are going to start moving.
Yeah.
So why not you? And I think that's why I left before even a couple of my other close friends, they still haven't left, but I know they want to. We've all gone. What's holding you back? But you can be the first. Like, don't wait, because eventually your friends are going to be all over the country. People are going to get married. People might start families. They're going to have different jobs. So we have phones. We have FaceTime. We can text.
It takes work, for sure.
It takes work. I'm not saying it's easy, but you're not going to lose your friends. And then you're opening your world up to a new social group of friends. Now in San Diego, I get to like, my hairdresser and I, my stylist, we like clicked immediately. We've been hanging out. She's so cool. I would never, you know, you just think about all the people in your life that you don't know yet that you're going to love so much. And that's what keeps me going. I'm like, there's so many people who are going to love me in my life that I've never even met yet. I met you, Alex. Like, it has been so, transformative, really.
Totally.
And now I get all these new like social friends that maybe someday turn into my best friends. I need to be a little more selective with that. I think in the past I've rushed into friendships that have collapsed. I try not to ask questions and just accept like and love people for what they are and maybe not confront them for things. And
yes.
So I'm learning.
Yeah, totally. I have, again, same thing. Like, well, I just have the core inner circle people that I keep in my life that I'm like, if there's like, and maybe it's a little bit based off of trust issues that I have. Like, I just can't let people totally in. As I'm getting older, I'm definitely doing that. But like talking about things.
Letting people in or being even more guarded? What are you saying?
I'm saying letting people in was very hard in the past.
Nice.
And now I'm definitely opening up. Like, it's hard.
That's
like,
wonderful.
Yes, like me and you, our friendship, I would never let someone in like this so quickly and just like, you know, to let you, like, for you've called me out for a lot of things so far, and for me in the past,
sorry.
oh my God, not in a bad way at all, not in a bad way, but being older and being able to take accountability, and then trusting your judgment, trusting someone else's judgment, not for the solid fact that that's the only truth that exists, but as you as a person, trusting that you have a judgment that you come to. That all stuff was very hard for me in the past to even let someone come in that close. Just, I guess, Anyway,
trust
so
issues.
trust issues.
It's hard to believe that someone is saying things to you with your best interest or with
Yes.
like love in their heart. You're like,
Yes.
where I do have friends. I've recently kind of had to fade away from a friendship that felt really negative a lot. And like I was being questioned a lot. And I had jumped into that friendship and was like, they're one of my best friends, like so quickly. And that's kind of the last time I've done that. And
Yes.
I feel like I'm the opposite of you. I'm setting boundaries as I get older.
Yeah.
And having to not be like, their intentions are perfect and pure and they love me for who I am and they don't want anything from me. Cause that's what I used to think. I so desperately like wanted to be liked.
Yeah.
So I have no problem letting people in. What I have a problem with is filtering. So I think we're working on different things. And
Totally.
when I confront you, I think part of it is like, is this worth jumping into a friendship that will ultimately, like, I know based on me and Amy, we will become best friends. We'll become family over time because we're together so often. But I think I still even have my guard up in terms of, you know, just relationships that I've jumped into in the past.
Yeah.
That I've been like, I read this wrong. So every time I say something to you that bothers me and you respond positively, or even with resistance, but listen to me at least.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, this is good. I can confront him. Cause there are friends in the past I like would never confront and then they blow up because I was too afraid.
Yes,
So
totally.
I'm like learning the opposite of what you're doing. And this move gave me the opportunity to explore a new side of me.
Yes, totally. Same. And then like so being here and the second move, second move, 3 places, but second move.
Portland to San Diego.
Portland to San Diego. I really did learn, because there I was like, I kind of felt like nothing was permanent. And I just never like stuck to, like, I never took any of the business relationships or anything seriously. Even when I stopped my cleaning business, I kind of gave my clients to someone and we just moved on and never like sent a thank you text to any of my clients. It was not, but here I really am realizing the importance of community, of even not keeping inner circle people, but also the people outside of the inner circle, how important it is to
like
awesome
nourish
it is.
those relationships.
Yes.
I've always been good at the larger circle.
Yes.
Maybe I've even been better at that.
Yeah. For me, inner circle, I can call, I can think of one person off the top of my head, just be like, yo, bitch, I'm not having a good fucking day. And she's just like, oh, whatever. She'll just like, unconditionality is yes.
Well, also you have to be a little more selfless when you're feeding those larger relationships. Sometimes you have to do things that don't benefit you. But in your closest relationships, like, you get that comfort of just like, I can just spew to you and know that you're there and vice versa. But it's, you know, obviously we do things for our friends. I think I'm a good friend to my close friends, but it is kind of a selfish, easy relationship sometimes where I know I can just like say something to them and get back what I need. But with people outside of my circle, just to be kind to my community, I'm not necessarily getting anything back. And so I am an altruistic person. So like in the sense I want my community to be better.
Sure.
So I'll be kind to individuals.
Yes.
But you don't get anything back from that sometimes.
Yes,
and that's
for sure.
hard.
If anything, sometimes people will just take.
But you still want to be like an active member and like show other people.
And that just comes with the territory.
It does. So it is hard.
Yeah.
And it's very selfless sometimes to be a good friend to those like fringe friends.
Yes.
And community circles.
Totally.
That's
I'm really
interesting.
working on that now, is like.
What are you doing? I mean, like, having moved here, you made friends through work.
Mm-hmm.
And how else?
Through work, and then just giving value, like with social media stuff. With the videos and stuff I did in the past with the podcasting, I interviewed mostly people here in town, and I
think
shared
that's
it
brilliant.
and then shared it on the Facebook group, and people really liked that. They were like, you're just interviewing the people here in town, and it was on video, so it's a lot more personal. And we like dove a bit into their lives, and then not only are you giving the person that you're interviewing value, but you're giving the people in the community value, and they just end up trusting you that way. And then so still, I guess technically work, but and then just getting involved in some local stuff. And
people respond when you show interest in them, though.
Yes.
So I think that's another like good tidbit to take out of this. Wherever you go, and if you do move and take the leap, like show interest in the community? How can you
Volunteer.
help them? Volunteer, get a job in a local place, like
Yes.
offer to help, you know, just like really put yourself out there. You don't need to be super extroverted to do that either. Introverts are just as powerful and like make just as meaningful of impacts in communities. So you don't need to be like, I'm not as extroverted as Alex, and I'm pretty
really?
extroverted. I don't think so.
Oh, I would think your voice carries though. When you're like, "Hi, I'm Chloe." I can hear it from
I feel like when I turn on that voice, it's more in a professional sense, though.
Oh, okay.
You know what? I think
Yeah.
my own person, if I'm not like, if I don't think anyone knows who I am, I'll go pretty unnoticed.
Oh, okay.
Like I stay
okay.
pretty quiet. That's why I got the job, because I knew I wasn't gonna like walk up to someone in town and just like introduce myself.
Okay.
I needed a place of comfort to start with.
Got it.
I'm not extroverted enough to introduce myself at a cafe and make friends with people. I had to work there. I had to be accepted in and know that I had my own little community, and then I could go from there. But I wasn't walking into the library like, who are the other moms?
Oh, yeah, good point.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
So I
totally.
think like I set myself up for success in having a little place that I could call my own as soon as I arrived.
Yes. I love that.
Whereas I think you can just like meet people.
Kind of. Just
I think
guess
people are
we're
just drawn to you. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. And sometimes that's not amazing, but
It could be a little annoying.
a little bit annoying where I'm like, I don't have the spoons for it all the time. Though most of the time for work, I am realizing about myself is that I thrive with people.
I'm an extrovert. I
Yes.
fill my cup spending time with people.
Yes.
I do like alone time like that. Of course, I think everyone enjoys
Yes.
it, but I don't need much.
Like I get pumped doing this. Like the day
Same.
before, I'm like,
Yes,
I'm
this
fucking
fills
charged.
my cup. I feel
Yes.
charged after I leave from this. Like I'm gonna go work, and then I'm gonna go to happy hour, and I'm gonna feel so good. And then like that is how I'm prepping for tomorrow, because I have to be on the computer all day alone.
Yes.
And I will spend that talking to Amy as I do stuff like on the phone.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
an extrovert.
Yes.
But I guess what is it? So I guess I am as extroverted as you are, personality-wise. I don't know if I'm as outgoing. Maybe that's it, or maybe not as like.
Well, I've seen you,
kind.
like, in
What's the
line.
word?
I've seen you in line and you're like, "Hi, yeah, I'm Chloe. I'm from Seattle. I'm a wedding planner." Like you do that.
But I think that's
which
because
is nice.
it's like maybe a professional front.
Maybe. Yeah.
I don't know if I would just be like, I'm Chloe, I'm a mom.
Oh yeah, maybe
You know
the
what
mom.
I mean?
Yeah. Maybe
I
the
add
mom
like the
thing.
professional twist.
Yes.
So I think for me, I've set myself up for comfort in my location
Okay, yeah,
to
I know
meet
what you mean.
new friends. And then also I went and got my hair done. Now, obviously, if you don't click with someone, you don't click. This doesn't just happen every time. I'm not saying like, go see a new stylist, you're going to be best friends, but you never know. So I went through a friend so my husband like worked with this girl who lives in San Diego. So I messaged her and then I said, do you have any hairstylists that you recommend? And she was like, yes, I think you would like this person. So I asked for a personal referral based on like me and everything. And she and I just like hit it off. We were texting yesterday. I love her. And she told her like boyfriend too. She was like, I just like became friends with a client. It never happens. Like it's not like this is normal, but if you put yourself out there, it will be. And then my husband has friends who live here and like they have significant others that I've just happened to click with. And so take advantage of network, join Facebook groups in the area,
Build
go
community.
out and meet people, because you will be depressed if you do not.
Yes,
You
and-
have to make friends.
And you have something to offer. Like, and make sure you're bringing something to offer. You're not just trying to take from the community. Even if it's literally like, if you have, which is impossible, but if you have no skills, if you can just
Right.
help someone
have
move
something.
boxes, you have a physical body.
like I'll join the school board or I'll do this thing. Just do something, but also like when you go and get your hair done or your nails done, talk to the techs. See if they have
Yes.
friends that you might like. Make connections through random ways. Even
Yeah.
I made friends with a girl who's a server at a restaurant in San Diego, and now we talk on Instagram, and she's so cute.
Yes.
We just like chatted a little too long, and I asked for her number. This was in January before I even moved here. Actually, it was
Yes.
December. I hadn't closed on my house, and I was like, I'm moving here. Like, do you like want to exchange numbers? And I was like, I need friends. So I guess I've been very vulnerable.
Yes.
So I've actually told people like, I want friends. I need
Oh.
friends. And they've responded well to that. I haven't
You
come
said
in
that
here.
to me when you started.
Did I?
Yeah, when you started,
Yay.
you're like, I need friends. Like,
Yes.
I want friends.
I have to put it out there because if I don't say it and just get the awkward vulnerability away, then people never know your intentions. Again, with direct communication, I want friends. I don't want to just be at home with my baby and my husband.
Yes.
I love them and I want to bring you into my family, but I also need my identity and I'm really lonely.
Yes.
And so I was lonely for like 2 days.
Yeah.
And then I made friends.
Rest of it, easy.
Yeah, because I asked though. I know it's not that easy for everyone, but everyone can be vulnerable. If I can be vulnerable, then an introvert who is genuinely always vulnerable, just speak it out loud one time and people will take you under their wing.
Yes. And extroverts love introverts because
I do. My husband's an introvert.
To talk. And you don't have to.
For 6 years, I've just been talking to Ben.
Oh my God. I love hanging out with Ilya. I'm like
Our
in the car, like
so introverted.
He's so introverted. And sometimes I'm just like, and what's going to do? And he's like, And he does not mind. So, but if you're the introverted person, make friends with an extrovert. And then in this situation, we're both extroverts.
Yeah, you can find both, but like just be vulnerable. Do some research.
Find what your skills
Call
are.
your friends back home. Don't just like forget. Don't get overwhelmed to text because people get sad when they don't hear from you. And my friends have given me so much grace of like being busy and moving, but also I am very busy with the move and the business and whatnot, but I have had to be like, okay, well, hold on. I could take time.
Yeah.
And so I have to remind myself, like, yes, I am busy, but nurturing those friendships back home right now is very necessary because I have this grace period, but soon it'll be 6 months and I haven't talked to these people. So that's not okay. So I gave myself like 2 months where I barely spoke to any of my best friends because I was so just overwhelmed.
Yes.
And now like we have trips planned, like Jillian is coming to see me next month and it's good. We've got things. Amy and I have a trip to next month. It's good.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
So, yeah. So
don't not pick up the phone.
Totally. So maintain old relationships, start new relationships by building community, volunteering.
Do research on where you're living and make sure you want to live there.
Yeah, make sure you even want to live there, even if it's just climate-wise. Yeah, go visit, check it out. Don't be scared. Just take the leap. It'll all,
sign a 1-year lease.
Sign a one. Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or a 6-month lease.
So,
this does not have to be a commitment forever. You can leave your stuff in a storage back home if you don't want to get rid of it or move it.
Totally.
You can make non-committal moves that can turn into a committed move.
Get ready for some maybe weird roommate situations. That could be a whole episode.
For fucking sure.
That could be a whole episode.
I know we kind of touched on it with our bad roommate listener segment, but
you threatened us to burn the house down.
Oh my gosh, I was a different person. Okay, I have one more question for you.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't really have a lot of advice on this.
Yeah.
Dating in a new area.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any tips?
Dating apps it's hit or miss for dating apps, but it's dating apps maybe, if you're into that kind of thing. And like a community for example, like a gay person, most of the world is not gay. So you need to, and I never ever cross the line with like a guy that's straight. It'll never go. Even like mentally, I can't even find them attractive if I know they're straight, which is weird. But
I don't find people attractive either that I know there's like no chance in hell I'd be their type. I was always really good about shutting that off as well.
Yes. So like so in my situation, it's kind of
I don't like unrequited love. Like that is not romantic to me. That's really pathetic. And not like you're a bad person, but it's pathetic to be in love with someone who will never love you. It's like, it's not bad pathetic. It's like sad pathetic.
Yeah. So I just don't even cross that line. So I always made sure dating apps or like there was a spiritual gay man's group that I went to and just stuff like that where I would, I would do that. And
do people try to set you up? Because I feel like since people only ever have like 2 gay friends, they're like, you should get married.
No, I was always pretty serially monogamous through dating apps. So I just like would date someone, and then when I was done, like not shortly after, like a couple of months, date someone else.
Date someone, feel a vibe.
Yeah.
Date them for a while. Move on to the next.
Yeah, 1 year,
not
6
a lot
months.
of like going out on dates.
Yeah, well, sometimes in the beginning, definitely, but then once I dated someone for like 3 years, then I broke up and then started dating someone else.
And people don't really try to set you up often.
No,
I feel like people would.
Yeah,
maybe they just don't have gay friends here where we live because I feel like anyone would like try.
For
like maybe, I think they would want you to like have met your partner through them.
For sure, yeah. But that's
There's
never
not
happened
a
yet.
lot of options here, though. I'm not going to.
A lot of people have said stuff like, oh, you should date blah, blah, blah because they're blah, blah, blah. I'm like, oh, cool. I mean.
Okay, but no, like, serious, like, I want you to meet this person.
Nope, never.
I always had wanted that to be the way I met someone, was, like, through a personal referral. Same thing, like, when
But
I find.
Tinder.
I met on Tinder 6 years ago. So trashy. That
Not
was
trashy.
it. Yes, it is. Now it is. Back then, it was kind of the only option. But there are better options these days. I would say, from what I'm like watching my girlfriends go through, because meeting your husband at 22 is like child bride status. Like, it's weird. You know, like, I didn't go through the dating really at all. I've never like had an opportunity to like go on a bunch of dates with a bunch of different guys and like get to experience, you know, city life through the eyes of, you know, different people. I love that. I think it sounds so fun. And so I love my friends who do meet people. It's a lot of online dating, sometimes like at the park. I mean, you know, meeting in real life does happen sometimes, but go.
Yeah.
Like, go, be safe, you know, drive your own car or meet in an Uber, meet in a public space. Don't let them pick you up, all the normal shit, but go.
Yeah.
Go out with as many people as you can. You're dating.
Yeah.
Like, this, it's the same way. And you can meet someone who then you make girlfriends through. Like, I have a friend who moved and she, went on a couple dates with this guy and it didn't work out, but she met like his best girlfriends through it. And now they're just like all friends.
Hell
and
yeah.
it's so fun. So you can meet girls through guys. And I love that too. So if it's good to date. It's good to, like, if you want to be in a relationship, sure, like, you're going to have to get out there and try to do it. You can't just sit at home, hope Prince Charming knocks on your door. But you could also, there's a lot of benefits. You could find a good friendship. You could find a business partner. You can find friends through friends. I mean, just get out there. I know it's awkward and weird, but it's way better than just like being totally isisolated.
Totally.
That's going to ruin the move.
And reoccurring Instagram followers. Like,
what do you mean?
Like, I look through my stories and I've like the guys that I've talked to on dating apps still till today I'll look at my stories and like they're frequently looking at my stories.
That's so funny.
Every day, or liking my stuff.
I feel like
frequently.
Exes or like ex things, whatever.
Or sometimes we didn't even meet.
But like they're just interested in what you're up to.
Yeah.
I know they always like come back around or like stay watching. They're lurking.
And
never
some
talk to
exes
you.
too, yeah.
Oh yeah.
A couple of
I would love to do an episode on
exes.
like exes coming back and just like how to deal with that. I think
never
it's
done
really
that.
funny. I've only gotten back together with Ben.
Oh, yeah, that's good.
Right?
But for me,
it worked.
Once it ended, but I've seen people like, they're like, oh, like we broke up and he started dating someone else, and then I took him back, and then we just like, and we've broken up and come back together so many times.
I more mean like them trying to slither back and like how you deal with it. Because I'm like you. I'm not. No.
Once it's done, I
don't
want
to hear about it.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear from you. It's over.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I feel like we've given some sound advice and we're both really happy. Like this was, I miss my dad. I miss my friends. But I don't miss Seattle. And I wish they were here with me, but I'm not leaving.
And the beautiful thing about technology is like one of my cousin Gracie and two cousins, Simone and Ilana, we are in constant contact. Like Gracie, yesterday I was celebrating my friend's birthday, and she just FaceTimed me, and I was like, "Hey, girl, blah blah." And afterwards, I was like, "Shit, that was like I could just pick up the phone. It's midnight for her, but we just like talked, and it's amazing." So like technology really will help connect people.
Because people are gonna move.
Yes.
And I don't know.
So
we're obviously talking as two people who came from city environments, so small towns. I'm sure this is different. We're probably not like the best people to look at if you're looking for advice on like leaving a really small town.
Yeah.
I know that the obstacle financially, like you have to find a job that will allow you to move, because a lot of opportunities in smaller towns don't make enough money to just like pick up and go in a very secure way. But I do think, and I know this is such a stupid phrase, but in terms of moving and getting out of your hometown, if there's a will, there's a way. I really do believe that. I believe you can get a job that would allow you to at least move to maybe not like LA. Maybe you can't afford LA, but I bet you could afford like, I don't know, Charleston. Like you could go to a different smaller state with a larger city and like work your way up. But you can get out. If your end goal is New York, so is mine. I like would love to move to New York in my 50s. I'll still be hot, but I'll have more money. I can't have the life I want, but am moving and going other places to work towards some of these end goals.
And there's places that are like kind of undiscovered, really awesome little spots.
I was going to say, we live in a small town. It's not just wanting to move to the city, but if you're from a small town, that's probably what you're looking for.
Yes.
Is a larger place. You don't have to go to LA or New York.
And you can make it work. There's couchsurfing.com. There's Workaway. Workaway, you can literally work at a hotel in Tokyo, and they'll give you a place to live for you to work at the hotel because you speak English for tourist stuff. Like,
isn't that interesting? I wish we had any like experience on the international moving.
I know.
That would be cool too. Sometime.
But Workaway.gov.
To talk to someone who's done that. Oh, good. Okay.
Workaway.gov. It's a $50 for an account. It's an initial investment, but people will message you with job opportunities. You can see people's reviews on the places that they've stayed at, and it's
you can stay in like hostels too.
Hostels.
And then for people who maybe do have more money and it's really just a mental block, like let's say you have a great job and it's remote and you are just like, oh, I just don't want to move because I don't know. I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Leave.
Then leave, but go get an Airbnb. Like stay in a cool place. Stay in an Airbnb in the neighborhood you want to live in. I think that's what Hannah did. Like she had enough money where she could take like a few day trip and like stay, and then was able to sign a lease when she was there.
Hell yeah.
A lot of places are requiring you visit in person to sign leases, especially in bigger cities. So if you're financially able and you're ready to just like get an apartment, go to a hotel, go to an Airbnb, take a trip. I cannot recommend that enough. I mean, we lived it with our in-laws.
Yeah.
5 hours away and drove here to look at houses. And the house I ended up buying, same trip, second house. I was over it. I was like, we're going to put an offer in on this house. And we got it. We're like so lucky because I know buying a house is, I love my house. It needs so much work.
I know. Well,
you know what? Actually, if any handymen are listening, I will give you my address. You come over anytime. I have a staircase that needs to be built. Oh my God, we have so much stuff. Oh, but yeah, I get that it's frustrating and it can take a while to do it. But I say if you're on the fence, that means you want to go.
We believe in you.
If you're happy at where you are and you love it, whatever. Not the episode for you. But if you're on the fence, go. It means you want to.
Yeah, message us for advice on Instagram if you want.
Please. Yes, we are. I would love to do advice emails. So if you have like a Dear Chloe or Dear Alex, like this is my situation, what would you do? I think that would be a really fun listener segment.
Hell yeah.
And you can make it funny. You can make it serious. We will be thoughtful.
Yeah.
I will always be really thoughtful because I have friends who ask advice and I will genuinely sit there and contemplate like the 5 directions they could go.
Yes.
I'm not just like, oh my God, break up with him. It's like, where do we go from here?
Yes. Because there is more to it. But yeah.
We don't really have a listener segment today. This was a hard week.
We're a little, we're just, it was definitely a hard week.
It was a hard week.
Traumatic.
We wanted to have more of a conversational episode anyway.
Yes.
We're like in the first 10 episodes and just trying to like try out different things. And
episode 8.
Is that what this is?
Episode freaking 8. Come on, girl. Foot high five.
This is what we would do. Episode high five. We'll see what's next. Yes. I think we are going to try to get some guests starting, and maybe we'll put some polls on like how many every other episodes would you like? Now that people have heard a little more of us, I think we're going to start asking for actual feedback, like what kind of content, what kind of style do you guys like? We want to make this something that builds a community. I know we joke about our 101 followers. I looked 101
followers
on Instagram.
Oh,
famous.
But
we do want to have like a community. We sit here every week and chat.
This is what we're doing.
And we want to make it something fun for you guys and valuable.
Yes. And it is really fun for us, but we just want to engage with you more.
It's really fun for us, but we want to make sure it's fun for you guys too.
Yeah, we just want to engage with you more.
We'll do some polls soon.
Yes.
And some questions, and brutal honesty is appreciated. We'll get back to our listener segments next week.
Okay.
But we appreciate it, and we think you should move.
Yes. Move.
If you want to move. If you want to move, that means you should do it.
Just fucking move, bitch.
leave. Leave everything behind. Never look back.
Hell yeah. That's what I did. Well, I did look back, but anyways.
You'll look back someday. I think even for the people who never want to look back, there's some situations where they shouldn't, where they really do live in that abusive and toxic of a relationship.
Or I was thinking even like if they were addicted to drugs or something.
Yes, like you really do. But most people, if you're just stuck and stagnant,
get the fuck out.
You can always go home.
Yes.
All right.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening.
You better listen, bitch.
We love you. Mwah.
Mwah. Bye.
Bye.
Wait, before you go anywhere. I forgot my biggest piece of advice. Hire movers. This shit fucking sucks, you guys. I have said every move of every apartment, every long distance, state, country, whatever move, I'm going to hire movers. I've never hired movers because they're expensive, and then I regret not hiring movers. I would so much rather have $2,000 less than I have now and not have done the bullshit I did. My stuff is still in a pod. It costs fucking $300 a month. It's going to cost $4,000 to move over. And when it gets here, I'm going to have to unpack. Stupidest shit I've ever done. Hire movers.
We love you. Mwah.
Bye.
Follow us on YouTube at Too Long Didn't Listen. Follow us on Instagram at Too Long Didn't Listen Pod. And follow us on TikTok at Too Long Didn't Listen Pod.
Please make sure to like and subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you are listening to this podcast. Thank you to our producer, Ilya. Thank you for our artwork, Morgane. And thank you for the music, Kai Music. You better listen, bitch.